Deep within a scientific base on Mars, a labyrinth of steel and shadows flickering under the erratic pulse of emergency lights, the air grows thick with a metallic scent of fear and blood. Scientists, blurred figures in the chaos, run with their hearts pounding in their throats, their boots echoing against the frozen ground, pursued by an indescribable horror lurking in the dim corridors. One by one, they are torn from existence, their screams rising and then vanishing into the darkness, swallowed by a silence sharp as a knife. Dr. Todd Carmack, his face contorted and his glassy eyes wide with terror, stumbles into a security room, his last refuge. His trembling hands seal the reinforced door, but the echoes of his colleagues' screams reverberate in his mind, a macabre chorus that refuses to fade. Outside, Dr. Elena Voss, a scientist once fierce but now shattered by panic, fights to reach him. She runs desperately, her ragged breaths forming clouds in the frigid air, while something, a formless presence, a smear of primordial malice, pursues her with insatiable hunger. Its claws, if they can be called claws, slash through the air, and a guttural growl, as if the planet itself were roaring, fills the corridor. Elena is inches away from salvation. Her hand stretches toward the door, fingers brushing against the cold metal, when the hatch slams shut with a brutal clang. An inhuman scream rips from her throat, her arm is caught, crushed between the steel plates. Flesh tears, bones snap like dry branches, and blood spurts in a crimson geyser that splashes the walls. Carmack, frozen on the other side, listens to Elena pleading, begging, as the creature wrenches her away with savage force. Her body vanishes into the darkness, but the sound, a wet tearing, a scream breaking into a gurgle, is seared into Carmack's soul like a burn. Alone in the room, his chest heaving and his hands slick with sweat, Carmack activates a distress signal, an SOS blinking weakly on the console, a cry into the void of space that may never be heard. But then, a heavy blow shakes the door. Then another. The metal groans, buckles, and a tortured screech fills the air, as if the barrier itself were howling. The thing is there, unyielding, its presence crushing the soul with its weight. A final, deafening impact, and the door bursts apart in a shower of fragments. Darkness spills in like ink, and Carmack, his scream lost to the void, is consumed by the horror that Mars has unleashed. In a forgotten corner of Earth, beneath an oppressive gray sky, a squad of battle-hardened Marines assembles. Commander Sarge, a titan of unyielding will, leads them, John Reaper grim, with eyes that conceal a fractured past, Duke, a joker with nerves of steel, Portman, sharp and cynical, Destroyer, a mountain of sheer power, Goat, devout and silent, Kid, the jittery rookie, and Mac, the quiet observer. They are thrust into a suicide mission. Their destination, Mars, through the Ark, a teleportation device that rips reality apart with a hum that prickles the skin. Energy crackles, the air burns, and in an instant, their bodies are shredded and reassembled within the icy station of the Union Aerospace Corporation, a mausoleum of corroded metal and cursed secrets. The mission is clear: search and destroy. Eliminate the threat lurking in the base and recover the dark treasures of the UAC. They are met by Marcus Pinky Pinzarowski, a broken man, confined to a throne of cybernetic wheels, his body mutilated by an accident with the Arkansas. His voice trembles as he recounts his misfortune with a dark humor that barely masks the horror. I went to one galaxy, and my ass went to another. His sunken, evasive eyes hint that he knows more than he lets on. The descent into madness begins with Dr. Todd Carmack, found in a corner of the base, mumbling incoherently, his face pale as death. His hands shake, and in a blood-chilling gesture, he tears off his left ear, the cartilage ripping with a wet crunch. Blood drips onto the floor, and his hollow eyes seem to stare beyond this world. They transport him to the lab, but in the blink of an eye, he vanishes, as if the station itself had devoured him. The Marines press forward through claustrophobic corridors, where the flickering lights make it seem as though the place is alive and dying. The air reeks of rust and something else, something organic and rotten. Then, the creatures appear, twisted shadows, grotesque aberrations of flesh and bone that move with unnatural speed. An imp, with knife-like claws and eyes burning with malice, ambushes Goat. Its jaws clamp down on him, and a guttural scream echoes before the creature is riddled with bullets from the Marines' rifles. The imp's body, a steaming mass of tendons and black blood, is dragged into the lab of Dr. Samantha Grimm, Reaper's sister, whose brilliant mind struggles to decipher the horror. Samantha, her face tense and fingers trembling over the samples, uncovers the truth. The imp's blood contains an alien chromosome, the 24, a serum extracted from the remains of an extinct Martian civilization. This compound, like a divine judgment, transforms humans according to their essence. The good become superhuman, the bad, nightmare creatures. But the horror twists even further when a second imp, trapped behind a nanodoor after a brutal attack on Samantha and Duke, reveals a chilling detail: it is missing its left ear. Samantha, her stomach turning, confirms the impossible. It is Carmack, no longer human, but a puppet of flesh corrupted by chromosome 24. The terror escalates. The chromosome is not just a mutation, it is an infection, spread by viper-like tongues that infected individuals shoot like venomous darts. The station becomes a slaughterhouse. Then, Goat, thought dead, returns. His still human eyes reflect unbearable torment as his body begins to betray him. His skin cracks, his bones groan, and an inhuman growl escapes his throat. But Goat, clinging to his faith, rejects the fate that calls to him. Tears streak his face as he makes the sign of the cross, murmurs a broken prayer, and, in a final act of will, smashes his head against reinforced glass. His skull shatters, blood splashes like a macabre canvas, and his body collapses, free at last from the curse. The Marines, now trapped in a hell they cannot comprehend, face a terrifying truth. The station is not just a battlefield, it is an altar where humanity is sacrificed to an ancient evil, and chromosome 24 is its gospel. Every shadow, every creak, every drop of blood drags them closer to the abyss, and the question lingers, a blade in the mind: who will be the next to fall? Hell erupts within the UAC Martian station, a labyrinth of twisted steel and dried blood where terror reigns mercilessly. The imps, nightmarish creatures with scythe-like claws and eyes burning with hatred, ambush the Marine squad, tearing them apart without remorse. But the true horror emerges with the Hell Knight, a colossal abomination, a titan of corrupted flesh and primordial fury, possibly the first spawn of this plague. Its steps shake the ground, and its roar, a scream that seems to rend reality, freezes the blood in their veins. The team, now reduced to Sarge, John Reaper Grimm, the Kid, Duke, and Dr. Samantha Grimm, fights tooth and nail, but the unstoppable Hell Knight breaches the arc, a portal spewing blue energy that hurls it toward Earth, taking chaos with it. Before leaving the station, Sarge, his jaw clenched and his eyes ablaze with a mix of duty and madness, seizes the Bioforce Gun, BFG, a weapon that pulses with an almost living power, capable of ripping through reality itself. Samantha, her face pale but resolute, takes a sample of chromosome 24, C24, the cursed serum that unleashed this catastrophe. The truth cuts through like a blade. The researchers, in their arrogance, injected C24 into a human, triggering a metamorphosis that spawned the imps and, ultimately, the Hell Knight, a monstrous god born of mortal flesh. On Earth, the UAC station is a graveyard of mutilated bodies, a landscape of death illuminated by flickering lights and the sickly sweet stench of decay. Sarge, hardened by war, orders his men to shoot every corpse to prevent them from rising as zombies, their bodies reanimated by the C-24 infection. But the kid, still holding onto his humanity, discovers a group of uninfected survivors and pleads for mercy. Sarge, as cold as steel, executes him for insubordination, his shot echoing like thunder in the silence. Morale crumbles, and the air grows thick with distrust and despair. Horror gives no respite. Duke is torn from existence by an imp, dragged through the floor grates, his screams drowned by the sickening crunch of his bones. Sarge is snatched away by an unseen force, his body swallowed by the darkness. Reaper, mortally wounded by a stray bullet, lies at death's edge. Samantha, tears streaking her face, makes a desperate decision. She injects him with C-24. The transformation is immediate and supernatural. Reaper's wounds seal as if time rewinds, his body vibrates with inhuman strength, and his senses sharpen beyond possibility. He becomes superhuman, a predator of speed and raw power. But the question lingers, is he still John, or something else? The narrative plunges into a first-person perspective, a visceral whirlwind evoking Doom 3. The world narrows to claustrophobic corridors, writhing shadows, and the thunder of gunfire. Reaper, armed to the teeth, carves through hordes of monsters, his movements precise as those of a war god. But the horror reaches a new peak when Pinky, the mutilated guide, reappears as Pinky Demon, a cybernetic mutant of flesh and metal, his wheels now grotesque limbs, his face a mask of fury. Reaper, roaring, confronts him with a chainsaw, metal screeching against flesh as black blood splatters the walls until the beast collapses in a smoking heap. At the station's end, Reaper finds a field of corpses and a blue hole in the wall, a smoking crater left by the BFG. Beside it, Samantha lies unconscious, and Sarge stands, radiating a disturbing calm. "I fixed the problem," he says, but his voice is a low growl, and on his neck gleams a wound identical to Carmack's before his transformation. The truth strikes like a hammer, Sarge is infected. The final battle erupts in a frenzy of violence. Sarge fires the BFG, a beam of energy scorching the air, but Reaper, with superhuman reflexes, dodges it. The fight turns to hand-to-hand combat, a clash of titans. Sarge, transforming, his skin cracking and his eyes turning to embers, is a monster in gestation. In a desperate move, Reaper hurls him through the arc along with a grenade, sealing his fate and that of the Martian station in an explosion that shakes the cosmos foundations. John and Samantha emerge to the Earth's surface, two survivors in a world that still does not comprehend the horror they have faced. C-24, that infernal serum, is a cruel enigma, a divine gift to some, a monstrous curse to others. It acts on DNA, enhancing strength, speed, and regeneration to miraculous levels, but its effect depends on the mysterious 10% of the human genome, a code no one can predict. As Samantha explains, if the genome harbors aggression or psychosis, C-24 triggers a grotesque metamorphosis, turning the bearer into a monster devoid of humanity. But in those with a pure genome, the serum forges superhumans, beings of unlimited power. The tragedy lies in the uncertainty. No one knows how they will react until the serum runs through their veins, and the price of that truth may be their own soul. As John and Samantha walk beneath a sky offering no solace, the echo of Martian hell lingers, a reminder that C-24 and the secrets it unearthed may not be entirely buried.